So in the previous tutorials, we got introduced to the various libraries that we can use in web scraping, and we also learned how to scrape some information from the web, such as Wikipedia. And I think by now we are familiar with some of the basics of web scraping. So in this particular tutorial, we're also going to see how we can extract information from an e-commerce website and then perform an analysis on that. And in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can extract information from Amazon website, which you can use for your data science or data analysis projects. Okay, so let's get started. Now what I'm going to do is that we're going to extract information from a certain website which is specifically made for practicing web scraping, right? So after that, then we can do another one from the Amazon website, as I said earlier on, right? So let me show you the page that we're going to get the information from. So this is it. This is the information. So as you can see here, it looks like an e-commerce website, right? Just similar to an e-commerce website. So specifically, you can use this website to do web scraping, right? You can use this one to practice your web scraping skills over here, right? This one is free to scrape, and there's no legal issues with regards to that. All right, so let's see how we can do that. So let's observe certain things. As I said, in order to extract information from a page, you have to first spend some time to get to know the page and how things are laid out in the page before you start doing the web scraping, right? You need to know where the information you're looking for is so that you can extract it accordingly. All right, so in this case, if you see here, we have some table of content at the right sidebar. We have some title here, then we have image of the books, right? Then we have the ratings, right? We have the ratings, we have the title of the book, we have the price, and whether the book is in store or in stock or not, right? And then we also have the add to cart basket over here, add to cart button. All right, so this is how things are over here. If you go all the way down here, we see that we have pages, right? So from page 1 all the way to page 50, right? Then we have a next button over here. All right, so let's see the source of this page, or let's inspect this page and then see how things are over here. So I right click, right? Then I go to inspect, right? That's what I do. So over here, if I go all the way down here, so if, for instance, if I want to get the image over here, I go to this, I click on this I click on this icon over here, right, which arrow icon over here. Then I can now go to, say, the image. Okay, so if I click on the image, now it's highlighted over here for me. Then I know where it is. So if you come here, I know that it's in the div tag or a div class, right? It's in a div class with a class name of image container, right? With an a tag in a tag, right? href, right? Where the link of the image is. So if I want the link of the image, that's where I have to look at, right? The image, and then the source of the image is also here, right? So inside the div class with the name of image container is where I can actually get the information of the image. Okay, that's where I can get the information of the image. Then if I want to see the star ratings over here, right? If I want the star ratings over here, the star ratings is in the class, right? In the class, in the P class, right? It's in the P class, right? With the name of star rating, right? With the name of star rating, and then the particular star rating, in this case is 3, right? Having a rate of 3, so that's where it is. That's where it's actually located. So in the same way, if I want, for instance, if I want the price, right? If I want the price over here, if I click on that, you see that it highlights over here for me. Then I know where it is. So the class is in the div class called product price, right? And then the P tag in particular, right, with the name of price tag, that's where the particular price is located. Okay, so if I get to this div tag, right, I can extract the price over there too. I can extract the price over there. If I want to check if for the item being in stock or not, right? So if I click on that, it's going to highlight over here for me. So if I go into this div, if I go into this tag, which is the P class, which is in stock availability, I can get it over there, right? So from this div tag, right, inside there, I can get the price, I can get the stock, whether it's in stock or not. I can get all of that in the div class. Okay, so that's what you actually need to inspect before you start moving on. So now you know where it is, you know where the image is, you know where the star ratings is, you know where the title is, right? So let me check for the title as well. So if I click on let me do this. if I click on say the title, right, so you see that the title is in somewhere h3 tag, right, that's where it is, right, it's in that. So if I get to this h3 tags, I will be able to get the titles of the page, I mean the books. Okay, so that's how you do it. You first inspect the page before you you proceed to do what you want to do. Okay, so now what I'm going to get is that what I need over here is that I need the pages, that's the number of pages, right? So I can get the information from the first page, the second page, the third page, or the fourth page, right? So if you see over here, we have pages over here, right? Page 1 all the way to 50, right? So I can get the information from the different pages. Then then I can get the price as well. I can get the ratings, the title, and then the image URL, right? So these are the things that we're going to extract from that page. So let me show you how we're going to do that, right? Let me show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to create an empty list over here for all of the things that I need. So I'll create an empty list for the pages, I create an empty list for the prices, empty list for the ratings, empty list for the title, and then the image URL, right? So I'm going to put something in these empty lists. Right now they are empty, there's nothing inside. Okay, I'm going to put something in it. All right, so what I'm going to do is that I will specify the number of pages that I want over here, right? I'll specify the number of pages that I want over here. Now if I go back over here, there are 50 pages over there, right? So depending on the number of pages that I want to get the information from, I can specify them from from here. So maybe I want 5 pages, I want to get information from 5 pages, or maybe 10 pages, or 15 pages, or whatever pages that I want. I can specify it here. All right, let's start from 1 so that we progress to say 2, 3, and as many pages that we want. All right, now the next thing that I'm going to do over here, right, let me uncomment these things out so that you see. What I'm going to do is that if you pick the pages, right, if you examine the pages, let me go back here and show you. I'll close this one. Now if we examine the pages over here, right, if we check the URL, of the page that we have over here, right, you see that we have page-1, right? Page-1, that is page 1. So that's how the URL of the page is structured, right? So these are some of the things that you want to check, right? So if I want to navigate to different pages, now if I go to say page 2, if I click on next to go to page 2, let's examine how the page, now you see that it has changed to -2, that's the second page. If I click on next to go to page 3, right, now I see that it is now just changing from, the URL remains the same thing, just that the page number keeps on changing, right? If I click on it again to go to page 4, now you see that there is the page number which is changing, but everything remains the same thing, right? You see that it has 10 to 5, so everything remains the same thing, just that the page number changes. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get this URL, right? I'm going to grab the whole of this URL, right, and then come here. So that's the URL that I'm going to paste over here, right? It's the URL that I'm going to paste over here, right? So instead of say page 5, I'm going to put an empty I'm going to use this format function over here, right, which uses the curly bracket, right? So depending on the number of pages that I want, that I've put over here, so if I put 2 here, I want the 2 to reflect here. So I'm somehow creating a generic URL, right? Generic URL. So depending on so if I put 5 over here, I want that 5 to reflect over here. Okay, so this is actually going to start from page 1 all the way to page 5. So I'm going to go through, right, for I in the range of the number of pages. Okay, so if I say let me actually demonstrate this one over here for you to get a clearer understanding of this one. All right, so if I say for I, right, let me put this one here. All right, so if I give the number of pages to be say 5, and then over here I say for I in range, right? So I'm going to show you what I'm doing over here. Okay, so let me actually copy this one and bring it here so that you see what is inside there. All right, so if I do this, let me put it here. All right, so for I in range 1 to the number of pages. Okay, so let me in fact, let's actually start from something basic, right? Let me do this. Let's say for I in, say, range 1 to 3. Okay, then I'm going to print the I, right? I'm going to print the I for you to see what is inside there. Okay, so if I do this, it's going to give me that. Now I see what it's giving me, 1 and 2. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. So if you do for I in this, right, it's going to start from 1 and then count to 2, but it will not count the last one. Okay, it will not count the last one. That's why here I'm adding +1 so that it will count the last one. So if I do this +1, okay, if I do this +1 and I run it again, okay, so now I see that I have 1, 2, 3. So if I want it to be starting from 1 to the last number of pages that I give over here, then I have to add +1 over there. So that's why over here I'm doing that. Okay, so if we bring what we were doing earlier on, right, if we say that let's say I give the number of pages to be 5, right? If I give the number of pages to be 5, then I do this one here. If I do for I in range number of pages, right, I'm going to print this one for you to see. Okay, if I do this one, then I print this, right? I print my I. Okay, initially let me take off the one, right? Let me take off the one. So if I do this and print it, now you see that it's giving me 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's giving me page 1 to page 4. Okay, so if I want it to be up to page 5, then I add 1 over here, right? I add 1 over here. Okay, so now it's going to give me page 1 to 5. Now you see that I have page 1 to 5. So that's what is happening here, over here. So to go through all the pages that I've specified over here, okay, it will go through all the pages that I've specified here. So if it gets to say page 1, right, then it puts the 1 over here. If it gets to page 2, then it will put the 2 over here. So I have the generic URL over here, and then as soon as it goes through this number of pages, it put the number of the page, right, the specific number of the page over here. Okay, so that's what is going to happen. Then after that, it's going to append this URL, right? It's going to append whatever URL that we have in the pages that we've created in the empty list here. Okay, so if it goes through page 1, it puts 1 here, right? Then I have page 1 URL. Okay, then it's going to put this page 1 URL inside here. Okay, where this one will be 1, right? That's page 1. Then again, so that will be comma. Then again, it goes through page 2, right? It goes through, remember we have page 1 to page 5. Then it goes through page 2, right? Then it puts 2, right? Here is going to be 2, right? Then that page 2 is going to be added to these pages, right? This empty list that we have over here. Okay, it's going to add it there, right? The same thing is going to do the same thing for page 3 as well, right? It's going to do the same thing for page 3, for page 4, for page 5, right? It's going to do it for all of them. Okay, it's going to do it for all of them. Then it's going to add it to our empty list. Okay, so that's basically what we are doing, over here. Okay, so after it has added everything, let's see what is inside there, right? So I'm going to print for you to see the number of pages that we've been able to add, right, in our pages. And then I also print what is inside the page for you to see. Okay, so let me run it. So you see that we have the number of pages to be 5, right? And if you see the URL, right, if you see the URL over here, right, you can see that we have the first page. So the only thing that it's doing is that it's just replacing this one, page 1, right? And then the second page is page 2, the third page, page 4, page 3, the fourth page, you see that is 4 there, the fifth page is there. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing. So you can actually check this URL. If I click on this URL, now you see that it's opening for me at page 4. Okay, if you go all the way down here, you see that we are at page 4. Okay, so that's what we've been able to extract. We've now gotten a generic URL for all of them. So I can extract it up to the 50th page, right? The only thing that I have to do is to put here page 50. Okay, then it will extract from page 1 to page 50. All right, so that's basically what you do. So let me actually do this one for page 1 so that we can have a small data set to work with as we progress. All right. Okay, so now you see that we have only one page over there, right? So for the demonstration purpose, I'm just going to do it for only one page, but you can just do it for as many pages as you want, as I have shown you. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to use the BeautifulSoup, right? So we have the URL, right, and we are going to use request to get the items on the page, and then we're now going to convert the request item to a BeautifulSoup item, right? So from object of request to object of BeautifulSoup. Okay, just like we're doing earlier on, right? If you remember when we were getting data from Wikipedia, we did the same thing. Okay, so let me show you up here, right? So first we use request to get the information, right? So we are using request over there to get all the items over there. Okay, then we convert it, right? We convert it our data.test, and then in the format that we want. In this case, we said we wanted LXML, right? And then we use the BeautifulSoup on that to get a BeautifulSoup object. So the same thing that we are doing down here, right? The same thing that we are doing down here. Right, we use a request to get all the items on the page. All right, so that is going to be a request object. Okay, then after we gotten that, we're going to now convert the request object to a BeautifulSoup object, right? So we see that we have our page.test, and then in this case we want it to be an HTML parser, right? Earlier on we used the XML, now we are using HTML parser here, right? So let me run this one. Okay, so now I've gotten all the items in the pages, right? That is all the URLs in the pages, and extracted all the information over there, and then it has converted it to a BeautifulSoup object, right? So let me actually print this one here, right? Let me print this one here for you to see what is inside soup, right? What is now inside soup. So if I print this one, now this is what we have. This is what we have. Okay. This is what we have inside the soup. Now, if you check on the page itself, let me show you this page source over here. Let's collapse this, and then right click, and then go to view page source, right? Now, if you see the actual page source, right, it's having some kind of a structure. So it's if you take for instance the div class container fluid page, right, inside that we have div class page inner, right, and then inside that we have the unordered list, that's the UL class over here, right, with a breadcrumb, and then inside that we have a list, right? So that's how it is structured, right? Inside something there's something, inside something there's something. It's having a kind of a structure over there, right? It's having kind of a structure. But if we do it this way, we are not going to get that structure, right? We are not going to get that structure. It's just going to align everything, just going to give us a right alignment over here, right? So if you wanted to be a representative of the page source, just like we've seen over here, right? If you want it to look something similar to this one, that's when you need another package called prettify. Okay, so let me go. Now over here, I'm going to use prettify to print it so that you see how it will look like, right? So instead of just seeing it this way, we are using prettify on that, right? So now if you see the results of the prettify, see now we have that kind of a structure there, right? We see that we have a structure in there, right? Now this one looks similar to the page source that I showed you, right? This one looks similar to the same thing that we were seeing on the page, right? Now you see that there's some kind of a structure in there, right? Just like what is happening over here. Okay, just like what is happening over here. There's some kind of a structure in there. Okay, so you can use prettify to actually do that. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is to get all the titles, right? So now we've gotten all the pages. Now we're going to get all the titles. Remember that we've created empty list up here, right, for pages, and then the prices, the ratings, the titles, and then the URLs. Okay, so we've gotten all the pages. I'm going to get the titles as well, right? So let's go down and see how we're going to do that. All right, so that is quite simple. All we do is that we're going to use find all, right, and then we're going to find all the H3 tag. If you see if you go back here and then you go to inspect, right? If you go to inspect and then you see where the titles are located, right? So so this is the title of a book, right? This is the title of a book. So let me grab that one so that you see this. So over here, you can see that the title of the book is in an H3 tag, right? So if I'm able to grab all the H3 tags, I'll be able to get all the titles, right? If I check for another title, right? If I check for another title, let's say let's say this title, right? If I go to this title, right? So you see that this one too is in an H3 tag. Okay, so if I'm able to grab all the H3 tags in the page, so in the page, I will be able to get all the titles and extract them. Okay, so let's see how that is done. All right, so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to find all. All right, so soup is what contains our information, right? The information that we extracted from the page. Right, soup contains everything as we've stored earlier on. Right, so I'm going to find all the H3 tags in that. All right, and then for every item in that, I'm going to print it out for you to see. So let me run that. Now I see that I have all the H3 tags, right? So this is actually all the titles of the book on the first page. Okay, if you go to the page, you will see that these are the titles that we have for the books. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add these titles that I've extracted. Right, I'm going to add them to our empty list that we've created, right? So I'm going to put everything inside the titles empty list. Okay, so what I'm doing over here is that as I've shown you earlier on, I'm going to grab all the H3 tags, right? Then I'm going to use the get text on that to get the actual title without the tags, right? Without the tags. Okay, so let me actually show you what is inside this title. I'll just misspell it so that it will not confuse it with the empty list that we created. Okay, so let me show you what is inside this on here. All right, so it's actually going to contain the actual title, right? You see that we have this one here, in the country, blah 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 blah, right? That's what is going to happen. It's going to extract all the titles without the tags, right? You're going to get all the titles without the tag. Okay, now after I get that, I'm going to add it, right? I'm going to append it to the empty list over there. Okay, now let me show you what is inside title, right? After I've appended this inside there, right, let me show you what is inside title. Now you see that we have all the titles being extracted and put in the empty list over there, right? So now instead of the empty list, right, we have something inside that, right? Now we have something inside that. We've been able to add all the titles that we want inside there. So I'm going to do it for all the other empty lists that we have, right? That's the price and also the ratings, right? I'm going to do it for all of them. Okay, so for the price, let's see which tags are containing the price, right? So if, for instance, if I click on the tag, the price over here, now you see that for the price, it's actually inside a div class of product price, right? P class of price color, right? So if I get to this P class, right, of the name of price color, I'll be able to get the actual price in there. Okay, I'll be able to get the actual price in there. So in order for me to get this, I have to get to the P class of the name of price color. All right, so let's do that and then be able to extract all of them, right? So this is common to all the prices that we have, right? You can just check it for any other price that you want. Okay, so let me go back over here. So over here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to find all the P class, right, with the name of price color. All right, so that's what I'm going to find all of them. Then I do the get test to get the actual price there. Then I add the price to my empty price list that I created. Okay, so let me run that one. All right, now if I show you what is inside the price, right, if I show you what is inside the price, so we have all the price being extracted for us. Now you see that we have all the prices there. Okay, let's do the same thing for the ratings. All right, okay, so for the ratings, if you check, let's go back here and check again. All right, so if I check the ratings over here, all right, let me get it. If I check the ratings, now you can see that over here the ratings are in the class, right? They are in this class, right? P class, right? P class with the name of star rating 5. Okay, so if I'm able to get to this P class, I'll be able to extract all the ratings. Okay, if I get to this P class, so inside the P class, there are some other things that are going to be extracted for us. That's I class, icon star, I class, icon star, right? So if I get to this P class, it's going to extract all this information, right? Finally, what I'll be interested in is the the rating, the specific rating, right? So in this case, it's a 5-star rating. So you see that we have 5 over here, right? That's what we are having here, 5-star rating, right? Let's check it for one more item, right? So for instance, if we check for this one, which is having only 1 star, right? Let's see this. Now you see if you check it over here, right? It's in this tag, P class star rating, right? And the number of rating is there as 1. Okay, so if we get to this P class, we'll be able to extract these ratings, right? So that's basically what is happening over here. We get to the P class, then star rating, right? Then we find all those P classes. All right, that's what is going to happen. So if I show you what is here, right, let me print this one for you to see. Right, if I show you this, right, it's going to find all the P classes for us. Now you see that we have all the P class, right? We have all of them. So we have all the P classes. See, we have P class with a star rating of 3, right? Another P class with a star rating of 1, another P class with a star rating of 1, right? Another P class with a star rating of 4. Okay, so that's what it's going to get for us. It's going to get all of them. So what I'm saying is that if you pick each of the P class that we've extracted, right, if you pick each of them, then I'm going to get 2 things from there. That is the K and the V, right? So the S is going to contain each of these, right? If I print only the S over here for you to see. Okay, so S is going to contain, just one of them, one of the ratings for each of the books that we have, right? So for that, right, for each of the ratings that or the P class ratings that we've been extracted, what I want is that I'm going to get 2 things from here, which is I'm giving a variable K and V. You can give any variable, right? So any 2 things in this S, right, in this S that we've had here. So these 2 things are going to be this, right? I'm going to give K here. So this one is going to be K, and then that is the class here, and then the V here, V is going to represent the star ratings. Okay, V is going to represent the star ratings over here. So that's basically what is going to happen. So the K is going to contain the class, and then the V is going to contain the star rating, right? And then the number of rating over there. That's what is going to happen over here. Okay, so for instance, if I print the K for you to see, right? Let me print this K here. Okay, you see that the K is for class, right? And then the V, right? The V that I'm talking about. Okay, V is going to contain the star rating and then the 4. Okay, so after I get that, what I'm going to do is that now if you see over here, we have 2 items here, the star rating and then the 4. What I'm interested in is this 4. Okay, and Python is going to use indexing if I want to extract this one. So it's going to be like this 0 and then 1. Okay, so in order for me to get the 4, I use index 1. Okay, so that's actually what is going to give me the star rating. Then after that, I add the star rating to the empty list that we created, right? So I'm going to append that star rating to that. Okay, so that's basically what is happening over here. So after that, let's see what is inside this rating after we've added it to the ratings, right? Let me actually show you what is inside there. Okay, so I'm going to actually run this one, all of that. Now you see that we have all the star ratings in there. We've been able to extract all of them, right? So just this simple code, you can get everything. The ratings that you want. So let's do the same thing for the image URLs, right? Let's get the image URL. So let's see where these image URLs are located, right? So if I click on if I find any image over here, right? For instance, if I click on this image, and then come here, right? Now you notice that this is actually in a tag called img, right? img src. That's image source, right? It's an image source, but this one is actually under, right? It's under this class, right? So we can use the class. We can get it inside the class, right? Inside the class div class, right? Image container. that's where it is under. Okay, so in order to get this tag here, I have to go through this class, right? So inside this class, I will be able to get to this this image or img tag, right? Then I will be able to extract the URL from that img URL from that img tag. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to this class. I'm going to go to this class. Then inside the class, I'll get to this img tag, then extract all the URLs of the image. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So let's go back here. All right, so over here you see that we are finding all the div class, right, with the name of image container, just like we seen earlier on, right, with the name of image container. Okay, with the name of image container. So we're going to find all the div class with the name of image container. All right, then after we find, so let me actually run this one and show you what is inside there. All right, okay, so let me show you what is inside these divs, right? Let me show you what we've been able to get. Now you see that we've been able to extract all the div class, right? All the div class with the name of image container, right? All the div class with the name of image container, we extract all of them. So each one of them is having the URL that we want, the URL of the image that we want. Okay, then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go through all these many all these many image container class that we've been extracted. I'm going to go through all of that, right? That's what is going to happen here. So for thumbs in the divs, right, so it's actually going to have a thumbnail in there, right? So that's what I'm interested in, right? I'm going to find the img with a class name of thumbnail, right? So if you see it again, right, we have the class name over here, right? We have a class name of thumbnail, right? That's what I'm going to extract, right? That's what I'm going to extract, because inside that is where I have img. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do over here. Okay, so I'm going to find that. I'm going to find the image with the class name of thumbnail. Okay, then once I find that, now let me actually print this one for you to see. All right, let me print this one for you to see down here. All right, so this is what is going to happen, right? It's going to find all the img, right, all the img tags over there, right, which contains the URL, right? It's actually having the alt text, right? So I mean, if you load the page and the image has not loaded yet, you give it an alt text so that the text will actually show. That's the thing that you can see. And then the class is thumbnail, right? So we are using this class thumbnail, and then inside that you can see that we have the URL over there. We have the URL of the image over there. So we're going to get this URL, right? That's what we are interested in over here. So we're going to go through all these and then extract them one by one. All right, so now after that is done, what is going to happen here is that if you see the URLs over here, let me right click here and then copy the link of this image, right, and then put it in a browser for you to see, right? So if I do this over here, okay, so now you can see that I get this image, right? Now if you see the image that the URL that we got, it's actually having the URL of the page itself, right? It's having the URL of the page itself before the name of even the image comes, right? That is patience, right? Patience here before the image of the name of the image itself will come. Okay, and that is common to all of them. If I pick another image, right, let's pick a URL of this one. Let's say right click, get the link of this, right, and then paste it here, right? Paste it over here. Now you see that it's just common, right? The URL of the page comes before the name, right? Obsidian, whatever it is over there. Okay, that's what it's here. All right, so that's the format that is taken. All right, so we are going to base on that to create something generic over there. So what I'm going to do is that if I go into the tags, that is the tags that I've extracted that I showed you here, right? These tags, I'm going to get the SRC here, which is the source, right? That is the only thing that I'm going to get. Okay, I'm not interested in all of these, right? The only thing that I'm interested in is this SRC, which is the source of the image, right? That is the URL over here, right? That's the only thing that I'm interested in. So if I go in here, I'm just going to pick, right? I'm just going to pick the SRC, right? That's the only thing that I'm going to pick over there. So that's what you're seeing over here, right? I'm going to pick that one, right? Then I convert it to a string, right? Then I add that one to the URL of the page, right? Since if you see over here, everything is just added to the URL of the page. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add it to the URL of the page. Okay, so that's actually going to be the link that I have. All right, so let me run this one and show you what is inside link. Okay, so now let me show you what is inside this link, right? Let me go down here. Okay, so now if I show you what is inside these links, now you see what we have, right? The URL of the image, right? That's this thing. That's this one that we extracted, right? Now you see that we have now you see that we have this one. We have this one. That's the SRC that we said we want. We've added that SRC here, right? We've added it over here, right? We've added it to our URL, the URL of the page. Okay, so basically that's what is going to happen, right? We've added it to the URL of the page over there. Okay, and that's what we want to do, right? We want to have a generic way of creating the URLs. Okay, and that's what we are doing over here. Okay, so it's going to pick all of them. This one is just one page that I'm doing. Remember that I've limited the number of pages to one. So if you do it for if you have about say 5 or 10 pages, it's going to go through all that and add the the URL image to the image of the page itself. Okay, now as I showed you, there are some dots in there that we can get rid of. It's still going to, if we get rid of this dot, it's still going to represent the image, the URL of the page, right? So we don't need this dot to be there, right? So let's get rid of that one. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to replace, right? So if I pick the links, right, I'm going to replace the dot with nothing. Okay, with an empty space over there. Okay, I'm going to replace it with nothing there. All right, so if you see the new links that we have, right, you see the new links that we have. Okay, now you see that the new links is just the same thing, just that now we don't have this one, right? We don't have this thing in there, right? We've replaced it with nothing, with an empty space there. Okay, that's what we've done. Now we're going to add this one to the empty list that we created, right? We're going to add it to the empty list that we've created. That is just the URLs. Okay, so depending on the number of pages, it's going to get all the URLs for the number of pages that you specify, and then add them to the URL. Okay, now let's see what is inside the URL. All right, let me print it here for you to see. Okay, so if I show you what is inside the URL, now you see that we have all these number of URLs. So depending on the number of times I've run it, that's why it's showing me all these URLs, right? This is going to give me all the images on the page, right? All the images of the book. So let's just click on one of them and see. So if I click on this, now you see that it's opening in it. Now this is the image over there, right? So let's go to the page and see if we can find this image. Now see that this is the image that is extracted, right? This is the image over there. Okay, we can just get any other image over here. So let's maybe click the first one and see. Now this is the image there. Let's go and see where that image is. Let's go to the page. Now you see that that's the first image there. So it's going to get all the images over here for me. Okay, good to get. So if you're working on a project that you need data from, say, an e-commerce site, you can use this strategy to extract everything. Okay, so we've been able to extract the images, the title, the ratings, and then the price. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that after we've gotten the URL of the images, we need to add it to our URL empty list, right? So that's what we've done over here, right? That's what we've done over here. Okay, we've gotten some data over here. What we're going to do is that we're going to now work on this empty list that we've created. Okay, we're going to work on this empty list that we've created. So let's see how we're going to do that. The first thing that we will do is to convert the list to a data frame so that we can work on it, right? So we're going to convert it to a pandas data frame so that we can actually work with it. All right, So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a dictionary which is going to contain the data that we've extracted from the site, right, from the e-commerce site. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a dictionary, one with a title which is going to contain all my titles, and then a price which is going to contain all the prices that we have, and then a ratings, right, which is going to contain all the ratings that we've extracted, and then another title or another column, right, with the name of URL, which is going to contain all the URLs, right. So I have these many columns in there: one for title, which contains all the titles; one for price, which contains all the prices; one for the ratings, which contains all the ratings; one for the URL, which contains all the URL. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Now after that is done, I'm going to convert this one, because I have a dictionary over here, right. I'm going to convert this dictionary to a pandas data frame. All right, and if you're doing that, one thing you need to make sure that you have the length of the data to be the same, right. That is the length of the title to be the same as the length of the price, and also same as the length of the ratings and the length of the URLs. Okay, otherwise, if you're converting it to a pandas data frame, the indexing will not match. Okay, so if you run the notebook several times, you will be extracting the information over and over again, right. And maybe you run the title several times, and maybe you run the title for maybe 3 times in order to extract the titles, and then you run the price for maybe 2 times to extract the prices. In that case, you're having more titles than the prices. Okay, it is going to extract the same information redundantly and put it in the title, right, as many as you run the code, right. And it's sometimes making it inconsistent, and if you are converting it into a data frame, the indexing will not match. So you have to make sure that the indexing matches, right. So you have to check to see the length of each of them, right. So here I'm checking the length of the title, the length of the price, and also the length of the ratings and the length of the URLs. All right. So you see that I have 20, 20, 20 length of each of them. So now it's fine. I can convert it to a data frame and they will match perfectly. If you check the length over here and you see any differences, what you can do is to run all of them at once, right? Just run all of them once, so that you have the information extracted. So you go all the way up here from where we started running it, right? You go where we created this empty list, right? You start from this cell and then you run everything, right? You run everything just once, all the way to where you check the length, right? All the way to where you check the length, right? All the way to this place, right? And then you're going to have all of them to be the same. Okay, just run it once and you're going to get it. Okay, so now I'm going to convert it to a data frame over here, right? I'm going to convert everything, my web data. I'm going to convert it. That's a dictionary that I created above here. I'm going to convert it to a pandas data frame, and then store it in a variable called df. Okay, so if I show you what is inside this df over here, right, this is what we have. Right now you see that we have this, we have the title, the price, the ratings, and then the URL. Okay, so the title contains all the titles that we extracted, the price contains all the prices that we have extracted, and then the ratings contains all the ratings that we've extracted, and then the image URL. So now you see how we've been able to extract the information from the web, and then now we have a data frame here that we can now work with. Right now we can now use this one to solve our business problem. Okay, so this is how you do it. Now if you are working in a certain project that you need data from the web, this is how you go about it, right? And then you extract the data, you examine the page to see which tag contain the information that you want. You extract it, and then you convert everything to a data frame like this. Now you can work on it. So let's just do some operations on this one over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the indexing, right? Remember, the indexing is starting from 0. It's not that necessary, you can just forget about it, right? But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the indexing here, right? The indexing starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to make it start from 1, 2, 3, right? That's what I'm going to do. So the only thing that I'm going to do is to add plus equals to 1, right? So that it will add 1 to each of the numbers here, right? So 1, it will add 1 to 0 to make it 1. It will add 1 to this 1 to make it 2, in that way. Okay, so let's see the output again. Now you see that we have weight from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of starting from say 0, 1, 2, 3. So you can also do that if you want to do that. Okay, if you see the pricing column, we have the currency attached to the price, right? So we can get rid of the currency, because if you want to work with the data further, we cannot work with it if we have this string plus the integer together like this. So we are going to get the currency away from the price. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the price, right? I'm going to pick the price and then make sure that I get the string over there and replace it, right? Replace the string over there is just the currency, right? Replace it with nothing, with an empty space there. Okay, then I make sure that I store it in the same column over there. Okay, so let's see the output now. Okay, after we've taken away the currency, now you see that we don't have the currency anymore, right? We don't have the currency anymore. What we have is in the pricing, but the currency is now gone. We've replaced the currency with an empty space over there. Okay, so we can sort the price according to the highest, right? Maybe from which book sells, or which book is having the highest price. We can sort it in that way. Okay, so for that it's just simple. We're just going to use sort values over here, right? So our data set, right, which is df.sort values, and we're going to sort it by price, and we are saying that ascending equals false, right? So that will not start from small to the largest, but rather from the largest to the smallest. Okay, so now if you see it over here, we see that we have 56.40, 53.90. so from the highest all the way going down, right, it's reducing. So the highest price over there, or the book with the highest price, is Marks and Shadows, right, which is costing 56.40, right, and it's having 2 ratings. Okay, it's having 2 ratings over there. So these are some of the things that you would do in regards to your real world scenario. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to change this ratings. Now if you see the ratings, you can see that it's in a string form or object form. That is 2, 1, 3, but I want it to be an integer, right? So if it is 2, right, I want it to be in this form, right? I want it to be this, I want it to be say 2, right, but not as we can see over here. If it is 1 here, I want it to be 1, right? If it's 3, I want it to be 3, number 3, but not in this case. Okay, so let's actually go and then do that. All right, let's go and do that over here. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to pick the ratings, right? I'm going to pick the ratings from my data set. Then I'm going to replace the letters, right? So if I pick 3, I represent it with 3, right? If I pick 1, I replace it with 1. If I pick 2, I replace it with 2, right? If I see the letter 4, I replace it with the number 4. If I see the letter 5, I replace it with the number 5. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do over here. Now after we do that, let's see what we have again. Now see that now we have the ratings to be in this form, right? We have the ratings to be in this form. Okay, so this is what we have over here, right? We have these ratings being converted. If you want the sort to be reflected, you can just use in place, right? You can just use in place equals true, right? So that whatever sort that you did, the sorting that you did here or changes that you did here reflect in the original data set. Because after we did that, if you see over here, right, the sorting is not actually showing, right? It's not showing because we did not use in place equals true to specify that we want the changes that we've made to reflect in our original data set. Okay, so if you want the changes, you just use, if you want the changes to reflect in the original data set, you use the in place equals true. All right, now let's check the data type to see if they are in order, right? So if I just check it with my eye, right, I can see that okay, the title should be a string or either string or object, and then the price should be an integer, or it should be a float, right? The price should be a float, and then the rating should be an integer. The URL should be an object. Okay, so let's see if they are in order in that way, right? So I'm going to check the data type. Now the title is an object, right? That's fine. That's fine for us. Now if you see the price is object here, right? But the price is not object, right? If you see it, the price is actually a float. right? It's a float, but it's not object. All right, which means there's something in there, maybe some missing value, something like that, which is causing this problem. Right? So I mean, there's a whole section on how to deal with missing values, so you can check that one out to see how to deal with the missing values. And if you see the ratings is an integer, that's fine, right? The ratings is an integer, that's okay for us. All right, it's an integer, that's fine. And then the URL is an object, okay, that's also fine. So what we can do is that we can now make sure that the price is in the price is having the right data type, right? It's having the right data type. So we're going to convert it from object to float. Okay, we're going to convert it from object to float. So the only thing that we have to do is to select the price, and then we use the isType function and then specify that we want it to be float. Okay, so df.price is to select the price. Okay, so this one is just the same thing as doing this. Okay, this one is just the same thing like this. So we selected the price, and then we specify that the type of the price should be float. Okay, now if we check it again over here, if we check the data types again, now you see that the price is now float over here, right? It's not object as we were seeing here, right? It's not object. All right, so that's how you can easily convert the data types. Okay, now we can also see if there exists any correlation between for instance the price, or maybe the price and then the ratings, right? So we can actually do that, right? We can actually do that. So I'm going to use this call function to check the correlation between the various attributes that I have in the data set. Now we can see over here, forget about this diagonal. The diagonal is just going to be 1 1, right? Because it's just comparing the price against itself, right? Or the ratings against itself. And that's not our concern. We are not interested in that. What we are interested in here is that we can check the correlation between, say, the price and, right, the price and the ratings. So if we check that, we can see that we have it to be around negative 0.5. right? Meaning that we have it to be something like this, right? We have it to be something like this, which is negative 0.5. So as if we have the price to be here, right? We have the price to be here, and then we have the, say, the ratings to be here. What it means is that as the price comes down, the ratings go up, right? The ratings go up. So the higher the price, the lesser the ratings, right? And the lower the price, the higher the ratings. Okay, so if the thing is costing, say, $100, right? Maybe the ratings can be 2, right? And if the thing is costing, say, $20, right? The ratings can be, it can get 5-star ratings. Okay, it can get 5-star ratings. Right, so that's how it is. The higher the higher the price, the lesser the ratings, right? And the lower the price, the higher the ratings. That's what is happening over here. So if this is a data that we want to examine, maybe our company wants to open an e-commerce shop, so they want to know how to price the product. So I can get the data from the web and then analyze and then see how we can price our product. If we want more ratings in order to get a social proof that our product is good, right, then we have to lower our price so that we will get more ratings. However, if ratings is not our concern, then we can raise our price. Okay, so now you see how we are getting insights from the data that we extracted. Okay, we can visualize this thing that we've done over here using the heat map. We can visualize it. Okay, so I'm going to use this matplotlib over here in Seaborn to do that. Okay, so in Seaborn we have heat map. That's what I'm going to use to visualize this correlation that I've created, right? So just the same thing. I put the same df.core over here, right? Then I put it over here. Then I use the heat map on that. Okay, so let's see how it is. Now you can see that this what we have over here. So over here, if you see the rule that we have here, the darker it is, so if it is dark, then it's having a negative correlation. If it is light, then it's going to have a positive correlation. So you can see that if you check the correlation for, say, ratings and then price, right, it's dark. Right, it's dark over here, so it's somewhere around here. As we check, it was -5 something, right? So it's somewhere around here. Okay, so it was negative 5 something. Okay, so I mean, you can just visualize it, right? There's if you check the visualization tutorial, you will see that there's a lot of things that we can do when we are plotting heat map. Okay, so I mean, basically what we've been able to do is to extract the information from the web and also analyze the information, right? Now, we know that if we want to price the product, we need to make sure that we lower the price so that we get more ratings and get people to believe that our product is good, right? Otherwise, if we raise the price, then we're going to get a low ratings. Okay, now you see how we've been able to get the information right from the site and then do this, right? The next thing that I'm going to show you is to do the same thing on Amazon website, right? You get the data live from the Amazon website, and then we can use it for your further analysis that you want. Okay, so you can get millions of data from the website and then use it to analyze it and draw beautiful insight from that. Okay, this one I showed you for only one page. You can do it for as many pages as you want, right? So the only thing that you have to change over here is the number of pages that we specified above, right? We just over here, right? You can just specify it. So instead of 1 page, you can specify maybe 10 page, right? And then you extract the data from 10 pages. Okay, so now you have everything that you have. So see you in the next tutorial where we talked about how to extract information from the Amazon website. Have a nice day.